Right now, the Democrats' divisive, partisan, unconstitutional post-presidency impeachment trial charade is getting a heavy dose of reality tonight. It's done. It's over. As earlier today, Professor Jonathan Turley, Democrat, met with the Republican senators discussing the trial. And, of course, 45 GOP senators voted against moving forward with this obvious sham. Meanwhile, Senator Ted Cruz is leading a group of Republicans who are proposing a two-term limit for senators and three-term limit for House members. As, by the way, that comes as Senator Cruz was attacked by actor Seth Rogen, who's he, kidding, on Twitter, and repeatedly calling him a fascist and numerous profanity-laced tweets, as if anyone gives a rip. Senator Ted Cruz joins us now for reaction. Senator, who cares? Badge of honor. Congratulations. I got to give you a lot of credit. Now, it's amazing that all you and Josh Hawley were asking was for an audit. The guy that carried the impeachment papers, leading the effort, challenged the 2016 election. Did they not realize their pure hypocrisy on display here, Senator?
Well, Sean, it's great to be with you this evening. You were right that the Democrats are demonstrating a lot of hypocrisy right now. They're demonstrating anger and rage. You know, last week I was sitting out of the back of the Capitol, and I listened to Joe Biden give his inauguration speech. And I actually thought it was a good speech. I was glad to hear him make a call for unity, to say the country should come together. But unfortunately, congressional Democrats apparently weren't listening to a word he said, because the very first step they took after hearing an impassioned plea for unity is to charge down the road of a partisan, divisive, angry impeachment trial. And this is not driven by the needs of the country. This is not driven by trying to help out the people who are hurting back home. This is driven really by the partisan rage and the partisan anger the Democrats feel. They hate Donald J. Trump, and they're engaging in an act that I think is petty. I think it is retribution. I think it is vindictive, and I think it's a waste of time. And so to coin a phrase, I think it's time to move on. It's time to move on and focus on helping people get back to work, helping people beat this global pandemic, bringing America back to where we should be, not these partisan games the Democrats are playing.
All right. Impeachment is over, because there's no way 45 senators that say it's unconstitutional can turn around and say, oh, OK. But there's important principles in play here. Why would people legitimize, validate the House's snap impeachment? One. Number two, if we're now going to use that standard, let's apply it to Schumer, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Maxine Waters, and Nancy Pelosi. Let's start there. Thirdly, there is something that's called the Constitution. Never mind, there was no due process, no investigation, no defense, no opportunity. Now we're learning that a lot of this, apparently, according to court documents, Washington Post, fake news, CNN, was pre-planned, Senator. Well, don't we need the equivalent of a 9/11 report to make sure this never happens again, ever, ever, ever?
Well, let me take those one at a time. You were right that what the House did in this so-called impeachment doesn't meet the constitutional standard. They didn't pretend to follow due process. They didn't have hearings. They didn't pretend to look at any facts or any evidence. This was an exercise of political rage. It was their id speaking. They hate Donald Trump. For anyone who hadn't been paying attention, they've made it very, very clear. And look, these are the same Democrats who 4 years ago in 2017, actually in December of 2016, before Trump was sworn in, said they wanted to impeach him. They've wanted to impeach him from the beginning. They did it a year ago. I feel like I'm kind of trapped in Groundhog Day, where apparently every January we're going to be doing another impeachment. So I guess next year, I don't know, maybe it'll be the impeachment of Jimmy Carter or the impeachment of Bill Clinton or the impeachment of Barack Obama, because that's what we do in Januaries. But this was not driven by facts. It was not driven by the evidence. It was driven instead by extreme partisanship. And I don't think that's what the American people want. Anyone who looks at the November election, it was not a mandate for the left to go crazy, hard, and extreme. And the problem, Sean, right now, the people driving the train in the Joe Biden administration and the Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi Congress are the extreme left. The first week in office, what has Joe Biden done? He signed an executive order ending the Keystone Pipeline, destroying 11,000 jobs, 8,000 union jobs with the stroke of a pen. He said, your jobs don't matter. What else have they done? I'll tell you, this first week, it has been quite dismaying seeing Biden nominee after Biden nominee get cozy with China. Explain how. I've asked multiple nominees, will you commit to maintaining the entities list that sanctions companies in China that are using their technology to repress and oppress 1 million Uyghurs, to commit horrific human rights violations, and not a single one of those Biden nominees will make that commitment. I think they are preparing to get in bed with China, and that's an extreme agenda. That's not what the American people want.
Senator, we got by, with the stroke of a pen, an executive fiat, we got, let's see, we're back in the Paris Climate Agreement where, China is a developing nation. We're not. Then, of course, we got, the end of the Keystone XL pipeline. Now the wall building is going to stop. Entire industries wiped out with that stroke of a pen, Senator. Entire industries. Interviewed a guy last night, got into more detail on radio today. He's got 3 kids. They're making over $100,000 a year. Where's he going to replace that job with 11 million plus Americans getting amnesty during the middle of a pandemic? How's he going to replace that $100,000 a year job?
Sean, you're exactly right. What the Democrats are making clear is that today's Democratic Party is the party of Hollywood celebrities. It's the party of big tech billionaires. It's the party of the incredibly wealthy coastal elites. But if you're actually a working person in this country, if you're a union member, if you're blue collar, if you've got calluses on your hands, if you're a cop or a firefighter or a waiter or a waitress or a construction worker, this Democratic Party doesn't care about you. And there's an irony. I mean, it wasn't too long ago. You and I are both old enough to remember when the Democratic Party was the party of FDR, where union members considered FDR our president. But today's Democratic Party has said they don't care about your jobs. And in fact, the defense of the extreme left, let's take Keystone Pipeline. 11,000 jobs eliminated. 8,000 union jobs. Here's what the left says and the media says. Well, those were just temporary jobs, so they don't matter. Those were construction jobs, and construction jobs matter, and we ought to be fighting for jobs in this country. We ought to be defending the ability of families to provide for themselves.
I've always said term limits, a bad idea whose time has come. I think I agree with you, but I think it's a bad idea whose time has come. All right, Senator, thank you. Good to see you.